It's interesting that we talk about creation of albums because I am a fan of the thematic album. I think thematic albums are the best albums ever. My favorite hip hop album of all time, it kills everybody to me, is Public Enemy's It Takes a Nation of Millions to Hold Us Back. Because that was the first hip hop album that was made like a mixtape. If you listen to Marvin Gaye's What's Going On album, that's a mixtape. That's not an album. Because it played straight through. That was the first album that ever played straight through without cuts, distinctively cutting the tracks. Part of that in creation of a thematic album is to have an idea and to flow it through the listener's mind and experience. As an artist, you're painting pictures. What is the perfect canvas that you want to paint with your music in the landscape of the listener's mind and imagination?
It depends on whichever album that I'm trying to create and what I'm trying to portray.
Tell me more.
You made me think about another great album, by the way, when you said that whole fluency thing. Mm-hmm. Another one of the best albums of all time is Common's The Believer, The Dreamer. That album is so slept on. A lot of people give all of the credit to the one he did with Kanye.
Yeah, B.
Yeah, B, which it was a great album.
Yeah,
not discredited it.
Yeah.
But The Believer, the Believer, The Dreamer shows so much growth and style.
It was more poetic.
Yes, and everything flew into each other. And honestly, I'd be hoping that I can make an album like that. There's nothing stopping me, but that takes so much skill and time. For an album like that, y'all might have to wait like 3-4 years. But it'll all be worth it. Those things are very beautiful.
But you know what makes Common able to do that? He allows himself to grow and he has time between projects. When Jay-Z, everybody asked when did hip hop change? Hip hop has business errors as well. Jay-Z signed a 360 deal. So what he did was, to get out of his deal, Jay-Z was signed to Priority Records. I don't know what happened. They cut him or dropped him. He got signed to Def Jam. That's when Reasonable Doubt got re-bought out and he came out with Volume 1 of things. Jay-Z came out with albums every summer to get out of his contract. And that, because he was so good at it, it pushed the industry light years forward to when people thought they had to build and bring out an album every year to compete with him or to show they're on that level. But he did it as a business thing. Most people nowadays have tried to copy Jay-Z and Biggie's formula of business and non-writing lyrics and things of that nature. So that's why albums, in my opinion, have become pretty porous from the late 90s to now. Not his fault, but just the same way Nas is credited as destroying the industry at one time too. Because they said Illmatic was the first album of the super producer, and now everybody started having a simple sound, or their own sound had to get sounds from everybody, and it destroyed the game. All matters of opinion. What do you say?
I'm sorry, I'm a little confused on the question. I just felt really informed right now.
Okay, well, let's take it to this level. You're making the album, and unfortunately in today's hip hop, I'm gonna just change gears a little bit. Unfortunately in today's hip hop, the guest appearance has been a major part of the album instead of a feature. Now I've heard you with other people.
Yes.
Idmatic for one. Shout out to Idmatic. Jay Wonder, another great MC who I like to interview soon. Stan, Khalid at Night, Solus, great artist. I love Solus's work and how he takes preparation. Leah Janae, who's been on the 4. Congratulations to her and her newfound success that we always knew was coming.
Amen.
But the bottom line is, the feature has become a part of the album. What drives you to connect with somebody to make a song with them?
Talent. Strictly talent, actually.
Define talent.
If I'm making a song and I imagine that somebody would sound good on this song, I want to make the best song ever. There's so many things that I will do to make the best song ever. One of them isn't let somebody write a verse for me, but I will try my best to do everything I can, even if I fully produce a song. If a producer said like, yo, I got these spider sounds, I'll make it sound better, I'm letting them put spider sounds on the track. So it's whatever, you know. I just want to create the best product for everybody.
You know what's deep about what you just said, and I'm gonna tell you that's humbling to me, is that you will let somebody add on where other people are so guarded they don't want nothing touched. And that's the thing about music, it's organic. It goes. It just doesn't stop. It goes. Organically. how does Samad Savage put the pen to paper and put the finger to machine to create from his soul? How do you do that?
I usually stop writing for about a week, and whatever the reason I stop writing for, which is usually something that's bothering me, I just let it all out, just let it pour out. As far as making the beats go, I don't even know how to describe the process for that. I just literally just be sitting, think of a melody. Sometimes I will literally hop out of bed at like 2 a.m. in the morning and run to my laptop and make a song. One time I woke up and this melody was just banging in my head, and I was just rushing to make the beat before I forget it because I was just so worried that I'd let go of that melody. Like, so that's the process.
You know what's funny? Now we're gonna get schooled book wise. Psychologically, they say men are most creative when they're at rest. So the rooms that men are most creative in are in the bathroom, in the kitchen, or in the bedroom. All right. I must ask you. You said you came from sleep. Are you influenced by nature, or are you influenced through silence?
I want to say nature,
Okay.
but a lot of the things that get me going aren't like tree sounds or or water or anything like that. I actually I'm the type of person to start beatboxing whenever I gotta make a turn. I just flip the signal and hear, and I just be like I'll just be going along with it. So I got in so much trouble when I was younger because we had a gas stove, and you know the little whenever that goes on, I just like leave it on for a few more seconds and start beatboxing like, hey, like just turning up to it, and then the house ended up smelling like gas, and then my uncle would beat me. But like that's the nature that I kind of vibe off of. Anytime that I hear something that has a certain sound, well, I hear a car drive by, right? And you know how when a car drive by, a song's pitch will change. I'll listen to the song. I'll know the song and just hear it in a different pitch and be like, ooh, I gotta now sample that song, take it to that pitch, reverse it, like just do a bunch of random stuff, flip it on his head. Like, there's so many things around me that do inspire me. So I guess silence wouldn't.
That's why I feel me and you have like spirits and certain things, and that's what makes me a fan of you, because we have a lot of things in common. I remember being in elementary school, and it was a song I would hear, and I couldn't get out of my head till I sung it. I would have to get in trouble because I had to sing it. Or you would hear a sound, and then you just want to beatbox a little bit or bang on the table just to get it out because it's so much in you.
Exactly.
What I learned is from people who are musically gifted, your rhythm to music is natural. So either your parent played music while they were pregnant, or the water in the sack that you were in kept a harmony and it stayed within you. Our hearts have beats. Our blood moves to chambers in rhythm. We step in coordination, which is rhythmic patterns. So those things are highly motivational to us because we were in tune to sound. So let me ask you this, and this is going to be one of the most. This is a question I ask myself because I have a light spirit. I'm going to ask you.
Okay.
If Samad Savage lost his hearing, could he still feel music?
Yes, but please don't even speak that into existence. That's my worst nightmare. Worse. I'd rather. It's sad to say this, but I think I'd rather be blind than lose my hearing.
No, I understand.
That's everything to me.
Okay.
Everything. Like, oh my gosh, this is the scariest thing for you to even mention that.
Well, I didn't break it to that level because, like I said, this is psychological things I'm speaking, because some of the best beats you'll ever make will come from silence. And the reason why is because you have to come out your comfort zone if you're used to sound. There was a time where I was in the bed and I couldn't move. I was in straight pain. And pain wakes up your senses. I had like a Charlie horse or something. And I would scream. I was young. Screamed at the top of my lungs. And then next thing you know, out of that silence, a pattern came to me. And I would tap it out. Strange how God works, because inspiration is spiritual. God's breath is inspiration that gave life when he breathed into the world, right? When he breathed into man made from clay or the dust or whatever, right? So whatever comes inside of you, if you don't use it, somebody else will pick it up and they'll make the beat that you had in your heart. and damn if it didn't happen to me. I'm not a producer, but something was in my heart, and then I heard that same drum, that boom, ta, ta-dum, tum, ta, tum. And I was like, I always had that rhythm, but I didn't know what it was. And then I heard it, and I didn't find out what the song was until I was older. And the song was "Watching You" by Loose Ends. It's one of my favorite songs. That drum is crazy, but I dreamt that at one time, and it came to me out of silence. How have you pushed your limits to make yourself a better rhymer or producer?
I try to do like 8-syllable rhyming, which I partially did at one point in OMG. What did I say? Me and them opposites, confident that it's obvious they gon' break like the confidence, positive that I'm bombing and wobbling towards the pod again. I'm disgusting, don't bother with trying to doctor it. Y'all can just does not rhyme with positive. But I invented to do that because I just challenged myself to like really just make it like, just like sandwich everything together. Another thing that I try to do is, I always have like go-to keys when I start making a beat, because they just sound good. They're like the song that's in my heart, like you were talking about earlier. But then I'll like move a finger or two over just to like really like throw myself off, try to see what kind of sounds that I can get other than staying inside my comfort zone.